Okay, so we are finally here. Our headline bout, right? This is for all the marbles, right? The middleweight title fight, potentially. Because, anything can happen. You know what I mean? Injuries disrupted the original fight. So, yeah, anything can happen. But on Saturday night, Reinier the Ridder goes up against Brendan Allen. And, who gets a title fight could be what's on the line. So all in, Brendan Allen. He's 29, 6'2", 75-inch reach. A overall record of 25-7. He is coming in off of a win, right? He is 13-4 in the UFC. Came via the Contender Series. You know what? It has been so long. I think I completely forgot that. I honestly do. Oh my days, right? 2019. In 2019, beat Aaron Jeffrey. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff, right? He, fought a lot in LFA back in the day. Beat Eric Anders, right? Lost to Anthony Hernandez back then. He eventually did win the middleweight title, beating Tim Healy. And he did defend it once against Moses Marietta before, that Contender Series fight and getting to the UFC. So he's got some good wins. He does actually have a win over Kevin Holland, Can be a little up and down for him though, right? It can be that. But he does think that he has what it takes, And he was able to get back on track after a loss to Nasruddin Imavov and another loss to Anthony Hernandez. Right, so he last time out he beat Marvin Vittori. That was July 2025. Right, it won fight of the night. And Allen, he does have submissions, right? He's got submissions. His stand-up is getting better. It's not necessarily the best, right? He took this fight on 3 weeks' notice. So, short notice, but I believe he was training for something else already anyway. And 3 weeks isn't that bad. The only 3 weeks could be bad if you've just been on the couch stuffing your face, right? But when you're in the gym a lot, I think 3 weeks is all right. You know what I mean? Bisping, he took a title fight on, I think it was just under 2 weeks' notice, right? He'd been on a film shoot. And that got him got him the championship of the world, right? So a lot can be done with 3 weeks. But is 3 weeks enough time to beat Reinier the Ridder, who's 35, 6'4", and has a 78-inch reach? So, the Ridder, right, he's 6 years older. He is 2 inches taller, and he's got a 3-inch reach advantage, right? So RDR, his overall record is 21-2, and he's on a 5-fight win streak, right? 4 of those wins are in the UFC. You know what I mean? Was former two division champion at one, you know. So he has got a lot of experience. He beat Robert Whittaker last time out. Before that, Bo Nickel, Kevin Holland, and Gerard Marchand. Right? All extremely good wins. I mean, the Whittaker win was, whew. And the knees he put on Nickel, very impressive. Very impressive. You know what I mean? And as I said, he's a 2-division champion at one. So there is that, right? He's a black belt, very good grappler. So, I mean, that in itself could be interesting if it hits the floor, because Allen is also a black belt. So I think he's a black belt. I mean, if he's not a black belt, he's high up. Right, yeah, I think if he's not a black, I think he's probably a brown, something like that. But a very good grappler. So, what could happen if they hit the ground? You know what I mean? Who is the better grappler? Because it's levels, right? People, it is all about levels. And Reinier has been fighting at the higher level for the last few years, you know? Yes, it's been in one, but one does have a lot of very good fighters, right? Very good fighters. So, who can prevail, right? Who can prevail in this intriguing matchup? Now, obviously, right? Although Allen hasn't got like sensational stand-up, it's better stand-up than RDR's, right? RDR's stand-up it's a little unconventional, you could say that, but he does utilize his knees extremely well. We saw it in the last 2 fights, right? And I don't necessarily believe that can work against Khamzat, but I do think it could work against Allen. Because Allen, you know, he's not as dynamic as Khamzat, right? Not as dynamic, doesn't have the same skill set. You know what I mean? So there is that. And I do think at times Allen, he loses focus in there, right? And he can look very unmotivated. You know what I mean? He doesn't always seize an advantage or press for a kill. And I think that's a big one because, you know, what we saw in the last 2 fights, Reinier will press for the kill. You know? If he smells blood, he will try to get that finish. He was able to against Bo, not against Whittaker. But he definitely goes for it. And I think that's a big one. You know? And also, I remember hearing Allen one time say that it was essentially that he's, you know, there are other things more important to him than the UFC, right? So he's not necessarily going to put everything out there, you know what I mean, to take certain fights and do certain things. And I think that isn't it's not the mindset for a champion. You know, now obviously that was a good few years ago. He said that. It may have changed, right? Now I believe he said one time on Unfiltered that, you know, he's all about trying to get the title and all of this. But then he also said about, you know, he's lost to Hernandez and he's losses to other people that he should have won that fight, right? He's the better fighter and, you know, it's a fluke that he lost and all of this. Which, no, I mean, that's not the truth. Hernandez just put it on him, right? And then let's put it on him. So I do believe, like, if you cannot see those things, right? If you cannot admit to yourself the truth behind those things, that can hinder you. You know what I mean? So I am taking the Ridder for the win, because I think we have seen that he is hungry. We have seen that he will push for that finish. And I think that is potentially the difference here. You know? And as I said, the Ridder has fought that higher level, right? You know, 5-rounders, all of that, most recently. So yeah, I am taking Reinier the Ridder for the win and that UFC title shot, right? So yeah, it's all on the line. It's all on the line. And Saturday night, we will see. But I'm going Reinier the Ridder for the win.